All right, pre-worky is an Anabar, and I'm training with Soosh, man. Yeah.
It's a big day. This is my first real leg day.
Since the little moped incident of 2021.
Yeah.
Currently, 4 or 5 days into my bulk, so I just started the little bulking protocol that I discussed in my video a few days ago. And holy shit, this thing is so heavy, bro. Look at this camera right now, hold on. It's like a big ass rig. I feel like I'm doing a front raise when I'm vlogging with it. We actually just wrapped up a podcast, which is gonna be live by the time you guys see this video. And yeah, we're gonna have a nice little leg day, me and Soosh. It's been a while. What is that?
It's ice, sparkling ice.
Oh, with pre?
With 2 scoops nitric.
Damn, 2 scoops nitric. And then we got our not so natty sups over here. A little growth action. I got, this has been my go-to recently. Tiger's Blood and watermelon, but woo! Forgot, it's empty anyway. So it doesn't even matter. But I'm just gonna do half a scoop of stim, just so I taste the flavor and my brain thinks this being stimulated, but in actuality, it's not gonna keep me awake or anything like that. Plus, we took a little stim action before the podcast, so I don't wanna get too stimmed out, you know? Yeah, it's a little more than half a scoop. There we go. And guys, this is key. This is key because I see so many people, they either dry scoop or they do like a little cup of water. This is how much water I take for 1 scoop of nitric, all right? This is actually gonna be kind of a long clip. Can you speed this part up? Right up to there, guys. So this is the 700 milliliter thing is right here. So this is like almost a full liter of water that I have, and I sip on it over the course of like 20 minutes as I'm getting ready and on my way to the gym to avoid nausea, because that's another thing I get a lot. A lot of you guys say that you get nauseous when you take nitric. I mean, yeah, if you're fucking dry scooping it and then having 2 little shots of water, you probably will get nauseous. But if you have almost a full liter of water and you sip on it, you're golden.
I'm like that guy who records too long in the TikToks. Have you seen those?
No, I don't think so.
It's like, so imagine, it's like,
The meme is like that guy who records too long. It's like, yo, we're at the party.
and then you're like, yo, but then I keep the camera on you.
Oh yeah,
So you're like, yo, and then it's just
Well,
like,
I haven't seen the meme, but I know exactly who he's talking about.
Yeah, it's just like so awkward and
exact
shit.
type of person. Yo, we're at the party, and I'm like, yeah, what's up?
and then they're still recording, and then you just like kind of,
Poppin'.
and then you like walk around, and it's so funny.
All right, we go, Jim.
James taking my phone and right now messages to my girl. That's a true friend.
Also, guys, check this shit out. Yeah, so fuck this up. This got all bent out of shape. This got ripped off, but it looks a little better now because I popped it back into place, but I'm still gonna have to get the front end replaced, unfortunately. I was pulling out of here. As you can see, I do not have much space because I have to turn right away to get out of here. And as I was turning, the front end of the car hit this lip and it ripped it off.
Watch my life pass me by, never knowing where I belong in a web of love and lies as you string me along. And I can't breathe, I can't see, I'm losing sight of everything. I feel the walls closing in, am I falling apart? Oh, I just wanna be free, I just wanna be free. I think I'm falling apart. Oh, I just wanna be free, free, free. pass me by, never knowing where I belong in a web of love and lies. As you string me along, and I can't breathe, I can't see, I'm losing sight of everything. I feel the walls closing in, closing in. I feel falling apart.
Feel my relaxed quad right now. Completely relaxed. Yeah.
Bro, it's like you literally feel inflated.
I know. It's nuts. When I go like this, I feel like my knees are gonna just give out. Holy shit. Woo. Dude, feel this, feel this.
What the fuck?
I know. Feel that.
Jesus, bro. It feels like your forearm.
You guys knew what my forearm felt like.
Yeah, guys, it feels like his forearm.
Doesn't feel like bone, but it feels pretty close. It's like squishy bone. This is the best purchase I've ever made. All right, so I posted on my story Q&A thing, so a bunch of people could like drop questions, and I went through and screenshotted some good ones, and I'm now realizing there are so fucking many that I screenshotted. So instead of just picking the best ones out of the ones that I screenshotted, I'm gonna try to answer them all and just like go through them quick. What is your strongest lift, bench, squat, or deadlift? Oh, what's my strongest lift? When I first read this and screenshotted it, I thought it was a different question, but I'll answer it anyway. My strongest lift would probably be deadlift because I pull 705, and that is like the most impressive because I squat 585 and I bench 425. So, well, 420 legit, 425 ass came off like a little bit. Well, now that I think about it, all my lifts are pretty even in terms of, like, I don't have one lift that is proportionally super high above the other ones, but I'd still say deadlift. Something specific you're trying to work on in the gym, my legs, 100%. Poxetine says not for human consumption. My girl thinks it's dangerous. How can I explain? Well, there's a couple of things you could do. One, the less morally virtuous choice would be to just say you're not taking it and then take it anyway because it's for her pleasure regardless. So if you want to do the more morally justified route, you can say that Dupoxetine is prescribed in other countries. It's sold as Prilogy, that's like the brand name. It's just not approved in the US, but it is approved in the UK. On the low, when is Vical dropping? So I think manufacturing is done now. I've said that like 3 times. The small order, if you guys have been following along, there's 2 orders that are being shipped out. One is the bulk order that's being shipped to all you guys, and then one is a small order of 200 items that I'm gonna be shipping to, you know, friends in the industry and stuff, so they can like give me their honest reviews, they can post about it, stuff like that. So the small order is gonna be here in like 2 days. It's already in Houston right now. They're just like processing it, customs or some shit. The bulk order is being shipped on Thursday. I believe they said Thursday. So that will take about 3 weeks to get here. And as soon as it gets here, basically within like a day or 2, the drop is gonna go live. Would you still have taken PEDs if your job or career was not in the fitness industry? That's a good question. Because I mean, that was definitely a driving factor, like a big one. I don't know, it's so hard to say because it goes back to the idea of like how much of fitness is my own personal desire and how much of it is my job. So if we think that 100% of it is my own personal desire, then I still would have taken PEDs regardless of my job because I would have been like, regardless of my social media following, I want to compete, I want to win shows, I want to win Mr. Olympia, whatever. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I'm biased. Like now that I'm in the fitness industry, now that it's my job, I have all the motivation in the world to compete, but who knows if it would have been that way if I wasn't in the fitness industry. I think regardless, I probably would have fucked around with stuff, and it probably would not have been as healthy because I probably would have never taken the plunge into actually putting a needle in me. So that would mean I'd be fucking around with SARMs here and there to make some gains, and I'd be like fucking with my endocrine system, suppressing my test, and like ruining my liver. So I probably would have gotten less gains and been more unhealthy. So like actually taking the plunge into real gear and treating it like a job and getting my blood work done and stuff is honestly the healthier route out of the two. What's the plan after being on gear for so many years when you decide to have kids? I mean, I'm just gonna come off gear and run HCG and wait a few months. Do you remember the first muscle group you ever trained? Yes, I do. I was at Planet Fitness with my mom. She took me because I was bored and I had quit gymnastics, and I was just like, I wanted something to do that was physical. So I went with her. She was going to the gym all the time. So I was like, you know what? I'll go and I'll just mess around. I had no idea what I was doing, and I hit chest. I did incline dumbbell press, was my first ever real exercise in the gym. How was you so shredded and strong at 16? Was you on gear then? Really? No, I was not on gear then. I was just lean like an ectomorph. I wasn't really that big, I was just shredded. And strength is much more genetic than it is, or I wouldn't say genetic, even though it is, but it's much more of a mental willpower type of thing than it is bodybuilding. Like, you can have all the mental willpower in the world with bodybuilding, but if you don't have the genetics there to actually build muscle and have a good physique, it's an uphill battle. Versus with strength, it's like the more intense and aggressive you are in the gym, you know, I think there's less of a genetic component when it comes to that. Biggest pet peeve at the gym, biggest motivating factors ever going back to being natty. So my biggest pet peeve at the gym is probably not a very common one. I love talking to people in the gym. When people come up to me and they're hyped to meet me, I have no problem with that at all. My pet peeve is when I am about to do an exercise, like I'm, you know, getting under the machine or the bar, whatever it is, and I'm like literally about to lift it off, and someone comes up to me and they just look at me like, hey, I'm here, entertain me. You know, I'm not gonna be a dick and be like, hey bro, fuck off. That is an annoying thing. Like 99% of people don't do that, but it's the 1% where it's like, bro, can you not see that I'm like literally about to do a set? So that's my biggest pet peeve. As for my biggest motivating factors, honestly right now, my biggest motivating factor is competing, because I want to compete early next year, and every time I go in the gym, I'm just thinking about how I'm gonna look on stage and thinking about like my lagging muscle groups, my legs mainly, and that's really what keeps me going, is just thinking like, if I slack in this workout, I'm fucking myself over down the road, so it's not worth it. As for before, when I wasn't planning on competing, motivation was harder to come by because there wasn't really an end goal, you know? And will I ever go back to being natty? I mean, I'll definitely at some point go back to just being on TRT and like a low dose of TRT, like 100 or 125 milligrams. I don't think I'll ever go back to being natty, except for when I'm trying to have a kid. Do you ever diet very strictly with no intuitive eating and fully structured? It's actually kind of getting hot, so I'm gonna take this sweatshirt off. Vical sweatshirt, by the way. Really just wanted an excuse to pop out the fucking. Yes, when I cut. When I'm bulking, no, not really. The only thing that I try to take in when I'm bulking is I try to stay mindful of my protein consumption. So I try to take in 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, which is really fucking hard to do, and usually it's only about 1.25 because I weigh close to 200 pounds, so 1.5 would be about 300 grams of protein a day, and that is just fucking hard to do. Honestly, when I'm prepping for a show, I will probably have to hit that number just because I'm gonna want to retain as much muscle as possible. But right now on my bulk, I just try to like set the minimum at about 220 grams a day, and I aim for like 250. That's all I really take into consideration, as well as keeping my fat kind of reasonable. On my last bulk, which you guys might remember was like January or like December of 2020 to like May of 2021, I was probably eating 150 to 180 grams of fat a day. And it was just like, I felt unhealthy all the time and I was just sluggish and just felt like shit 24/7. So on this bulk, I'm trying to keep the fat at like 100 grams a day. I usually take in 90 to 95, just like mentally keeping track of it. And I try to like limit it to 100 because I just don't want to be like 180 grams of fat a day is just fucking ridiculous. So, and then with carbs, I don't really keep track of those, honestly. I probably take in around 350 grams a day or so. But yeah, on a bulk, I'm just like, my carbs are naturally gonna be high and I gotta keep my fat in check. And then I try to take in 250 grams of protein a day. But when I'm cutting, yes, I track every single thing that I... Favorite independent news source, I personally like Tim Pool. A little like left wing on certain things, and that's cool because I like to take in both sides of the spectrum. But I do think that he's a very honest person. And thoughts on Soosh moving on to a new girlfriend relatively quick. Well, I can't really say anything negatively about that because I literally did the exact, well, kind of. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend in March of 2019, and then I started talking to Hannah in May of 2019. But me and Hannah didn't start dating on paper until December of 2019. I still feel like I moved on to a new girl relatively quickly, even though me and Hannah weren't like officially dating. Oh, shout out to Giordani for this chain, by the way. I've been wearing it a lot. I'm a chain guy now. Yeah, sometimes when you break up with someone, like you can either sit there and just torture yourself with your own thoughts, or you can like force yourself to put yourself out there and either hook up with someone new or jump into a new relationship. And sometimes it's good for the soul, even though I wouldn't advocate just like randomly just fucking everyone on the planet. In my opinion, it's still good coming out of a relationship to just like fake it till you make it. Like force yourself to move on and then you'll end up meeting someone new. And then that actually causes you to move on. Advice for meeting parents formally for the first time. Honestly, I would say like, literally just be yourself. If you have faith that you're a good person and you have good characteristics, then just be yourself. Like when I met Hannah's parents for the first time, Hannah and I had already been dating at that point for a year because I met them this past December. And I didn't try to like put on my fucking suit and tie and be like the proper, you know, husband material type. I literally was just myself and I was like normal, like crude humor and stuff. And obviously I wasn't like, you know, busting out the sex jokes or anything, but I was like, I wasn't trying to filter myself too much. And for that reason, I think her parents, you know, they liked me. Hopefully, if they're watching this, I really hope you like me. Her parents, I assume this is a guy saying this. Yeah, it is. Her parents are gonna be able to see through any facade that you put on. So if you try to be like the, you know, proper boyfriend and you're just putting on a show for them, they're gonna be able to notice that. So they wanna see the real you. And if you have faith that the real you is a good person with all your flaws and everything, then just be yourself, dude, honestly. What was the beef you and Soosh had? We didn't actually have beef, we were joking. I've gotten so many questions about that. Like, people were shocked because I left a comment on one of Soosh's posts and I was like, hey man, I'm so glad we're not beefing anymore. It's nice to train with you again. I forget how the joke even started, but it ended up just turning into a thing where we would joke about beefing, and obviously some people miss that. Who would win in an arm wrestling match, you or Juji Mufu? Probably Juji, because he has more experience and he's just a bigger and stronger guy. Pretty sure, I don't know how much he benches, but it's more than me. And like, deadlifts more than me, pretty sure. So just overall, take a look at the guy and you can basically tell right away that he is a tank. And on top of that, he has arm wrestling experience more than me. So I do think that it would be a good match. I don't think he would just like flash me, but I don't think that I would be able to beat him. But actually, I don't want to say spam Juji because I don't want to annoy him, but comment on his post or something because I would love to train and arm wrestle Juji. I've been watching him for a long time. What is the most overrated gym exercise in your opinion? I couldn't think of one off the top of my head for guys, but for girls, I will tell you right now, it's cable pull-throughs for their glutes, where they go like, they do this fucking thing, they're gonna like stand up, and the cable is behind them, and they like reach through their legs and grab the fucking rope, and then they do the humping motion. Bro, that shit is not building a gram of muscle. Like, I don't care if you're doing the full stack. That just doesn't work. So fuck that exercise. Do you have any prep coaches in mind for your first show or going at it alone? Yeah, actually, I talked to Anthony. I FaceTimed Anthony yesterday, just randomly. And we just talked for like an hour and a half. It was fun talking to him, and I kind of talked about like what I plan on doing with competing, and I was just open about the fact that I have no fucking idea what to do when it comes to finding a coach. And he said, my coach is good. And I said, yeah, your coach is good. And then that's that. So I messaged Kyle Wilkes, and I think I'm gonna get on board with Kyle, because I mean he prepped Dominic Galena. You guys might know Dominic, and he also prepped Anthony and a couple other people that I know, and all of them have gone into their shows looking amazing. So as for going into the show alone, no, I would never do that. Do you think Young LA will ever become bought out and become cringe like another gym company? No, I don't, because Young LA is not trying to be, they're not trying to be like mainstream in that kind of way. Like, you kind of have to become a certain level of cringe if you want to become like hyper mainstream. But Young LA is just kind of carving their own path, and they have like a specific aesthetic look that they're going for, and becoming cringe would be like the complete antithesis of their brand. You know what I mean? Like, if they became cringe, that would just go completely against what Young LA is. So no, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. How do you look so old? I get this a lot. I want you guys to comment right now how old you think that I look. I'm 22, by the way, but if you never saw me before and you just saw me on the street, how old do you think I'd be? Because I think I look about 28 years old. That's the thing that I get the most, is I either get, like, when people meet me, they're either like, you're bigger in person, or you look older than 22. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That either means I look mature, or it means I look fucking elderly. Do you take finasteride? Hairline on point, brother. Thank you. Yeah, my hairline doesn't really recede, which is nice. But I have had, like, I've noticed, and this is harder for other people to notice, but when it's myself, obviously I notice it, like running my hand through my hair. Right now it feels pretty thick, but at some points when I was doing tren, I noticed it felt thinner as I was running my hand through my hair. But my hairline itself didn't recede at all, which is good. But that still kind of spooked me, the fact that my hair felt thinner. So now that I'm on D-ball Deca, I'm not on finasteride, because, like, when I was running test and trend, yes, I was taking finasteride, but now that I'm on D-ball Deca, there's no need for it, and actually it would be counterproductive. Like, it would be worse than if I don't take it, because Deca actually becomes less hair safe when you take finasteride. Dream car, non-Tesla. Well, I will say, first and foremost, the Tesla Model S Plaid is my current dream car, and the Tesla Roadster, which will be out in 2023, is my dream car after that, because those are both like reasonable. Like, the Model S Plaid is $130,000, and the Roadster is going to be $200,000, which for a supercar is like really fucking cheap. Pipe dream car, which one day I might be able to afford if iCal goes to the moon, but that would be the Rimac Nevera. Just look it up on YouTube. That thing is fucking nuts, and it's also an electric car. If you guys aren't into electric cars, I'm sorry, but my non-Tesla dream car is still an electric car. How's life been with the new place? Life, in terms of just like living here, has been great. It's nice to have more space, but in terms of like just kind of feeling not stagnant, because everything is still growing, but just kind of repetitive, that's kind of been happening. Like, I feel like, you know, on some levels I want structure and routine in my life, but on another level I want adventure and randomness, you know? And the more I've kind of fallen into a routine of just like wake up, post on Instagram, eat, you know, not in that order, go to the gym, eat, scroll through social media, my necessary plugs, make a YouTube video, go to sleep. I need to travel. That's really what I need to do. So I'm not depressed. You guys don't have to worry about me, but I could see myself, if I keep on this kind of repetitive routine, I'm worried I might start to get unhappy. So I'm gonna take a trip to LA next week, probably, just to like get out, go meet Gary, the owner of Young LA. I wanted to meet him for a while. Meet Giordani, meet everyone else on Young LA, maybe do a photo shoot, and see Lexx, obviously, do collabs. And I think that will be good for the soul. I think what I need to do is travel for myself honestly every month, you know, domestically. I can visit Anthony in Florida, I can visit Lexx over in LA, I can travel to other places, do collabs. I just need to get on that because it's nice to just wake up and fucking travel somewhere. Worst injury you've ever gotten was not a very gruesome injury. It was just an injury right down, I don't know if you can see it, butthole fucking exposure right here, but right in here, bro. Right where my hamstring, actually honestly even higher, but I'm not fucking flexible enough for that. It's right where the hamstring tendon attaches to the hip bone. So you've got your hips and you have the ball joints of each one. And right where the fucking tendon attaches, like super deep in the hip, in the glute, was painful. So it was a tendon injury, which obviously takes longer to heal than a muscle injury. And that shit lasted for like a year. You guys probably heard this story. If you watch me, you've heard this story 100 times. But I would take time off, take a couple months off, then slowly get back into squats and deadlifts and hitting legs. And then my strength would be going back up, my gains would be coming back, and then that nagging injury was there again. So then I'd take another month or two off, and then I would come back, and that cycle repeated like 4 or 5 times, and I was just going fucking insane. And then finally, it ended up going away. I forget what I even did. I think I just ended up taking like 6 months off of legs, which was the worst fucking thing ever. Would you buy a ticket to space? That's actually a funny question. I was just talking to Hannah about this last night. That is like my #1 goal ever, is to go to space. And it's been that since I was like, for as long as I can remember. I've always, you know, been fascinated by astronomy and the cosmos and just like was so curious about what it's like up there. And now it's actually like possible, technically. It's $450,000 and won't be available until next year. Yes, that is my dream. I would love to go to space. Will you ever collab with Dave again? Yeah, I actually just texted him 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago or something. We haven't talked or caught up in a while, and we had a good conversation, just texting back and forth, catching up on stuff. So, I don't know why I just moaned as I took a sip of that. That's kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, I do definitely think that I'll be collabing with Dave again. If I would film a video with him, I mean, yes, but I just want to like see him again and hang out with him because he's my friend. And if we did film a video, then that would be cool. But regardless, yes, I'll be hanging out with him. I know this ain't a question, but I've been heartbroken today by someone I don't even date. We've all been there, bro. If you're into the dating scene or even just like hooking up scene, you know, we've all been there, because just because you don't date someone doesn't mean you don't have feelings for them. It's not like, you know, start dating someone and then right away the feelings just appear and they weren't there before. No, like you develop feelings for someone and then because of that you start dating them, you know? So the feelings come first. So you shouldn't feel bad that it's like, oh, it's someone I don't even date, I shouldn't be heartbroken. That's not how feelings work. So we've all been there, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Do you believe your insecurities have shaped you into who you are today? 100% yes, 100%. Because I'm the type, like, there's one school of thought that's like, you have insecurities, so you should like come to accept them, or, you know, like meditate and fucking move past them. I can't do that. And I don't think it's very effective either. I think usually what people do is they just suppress those feelings, but the insecurities are still there, you know? Just, they've been suppressed. And I don't think that's very healthy. I think, in my opinion, the best way to beat an insecurity, figure out any possible way to fix it, you know, in a healthy way. Obviously, there's limits to that. I'm talking practically, like, if you can fix it and it just takes some hard work, then try to fix it rather than just coming to accept it, you know? Yeah, I think for that reason, my insecurities have definitely shaped me into who I am today. Like, if I wasn't insecure about, actually, I don't know how much the whole physique part is true, because the real reason I started lifting was more out of wanting something physical to do. And what's funny is, as I started lifting, that's when I became more aware of the way that my physique looked, and then that's when I became insecure about the way that I looked, which then helped propel me super into the bodybuilding scene. Maybe the insecurity was always there under the surface and then I just fucking unlocked it by starting to train. I do know that if it weren't for like body dysmorphia or whatever, I would never be in the position I'm in, which is kind of ironic. Muscle group you wish was more developed? Legs, 100%, and calves. What's the general timeline for your first show? Realistically, like March of this coming year. How far away are you mentally from being ready for fatherhood? Honestly, a fucking long time. Like probably a decade. I got shit that I want to do first. The very next question is not as serious as the last one. How do you fix a bent penis, bruh? Dude, why is that fucking question so funny? If it's bent upwards, that's actually a good thing. So if it's bent upwards, you don't need to worry. That's actually a good thing. But if it's bent to like one side or another, if it's not like a super extreme amount, then you're probably overthinking it, and like most girls won't notice. But if you are insecure about it and you want to fix it anyway, the Phallosan Forte is penis stretcher, you know, you guys have heard of, and that will fix a bent penis. When are you getting a new profile picture? Honestly, I was gonna switch my profile picture a couple days ago, and then Soosh was the one who talked me out of it, because he said that my profile picture, I've had it for so long that it's iconic at this point, and it has been about 2 years I've had that profile picture. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Should I switch it, or do I keep the iconic profile picture? How you and your girlfriend met? I feel like I've definitely told this story multiple times, but it was probably on the podcast. So for those of you that don't know, we'd been like talking, flirting a bit for a couple weeks, starting in like May of 2019, and then in like late May 2019, this was right after the Frankfurt Gymshark pop-up shop, I went to England with Dave, because we didn't want to go back to the US. And then Hannah was like, I'm in England too, what the fuck? And I said, damn, cool, let's meet each other. And we were 4 hours away, so we both took a train, 2 hours, and met in the middle at some random city and hung out the whole day. Craziest thing you have seen happen while at the gym. I've probably seen crazier shit than this that I just can't remember, but one of the funniest / craziest things I ever saw was this big, strong motherfucker that went to my old gym, took pre-workout. Shout out Nico. He took pre-workout about 5 minutes before attempting, I think like 800 pounds on deadlift, and he dry scooped it as well. So this was just a recipe for disaster, and he like did his warm-ups really quick and then went for the 800 pound pull, and he projectile nose vomited the pre-workout like 10 feet in front of him. It was fucking nuts, bro. There was like 2 streams of red fucking mist that came out of his nose, like across the gym. It was insane, and I literally watched that. That's it. All right, thank you guys for the questions. I was gonna keep this Q&A short, but this has been recording for 40 minutes, which means probably like 20 minutes of footage in here. So this is gonna be a fucking movie. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, there's probably only like 10% of you still watching this far. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, etc. The whole 9 yards. If you want to support me, the links are in my description for Gorilla Mind, a supplement company that I'm sponsored by, and Young LA, a clothing company I'm sponsored by. Buy Cal link will be down there soon. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.